Welcome to Homeschool Nolan, here to help you navigate learning in the digital age. One of my favorite books back when I was a kid in elementary school was John Henry, an American Legend. Legend has it that John Henry was born with a hammer in his hand. When he grew up, he grew to be bigger and stronger than everyone else. And he eventually took his hammer and began working on building the railroads. Until one day, a new machine showed up. This machine was called the steam drill. They said that this new machine could drill holes faster than 6 men combined, and that no man could beat it. However, John Henry took the challenge and raced the steam drill. In the end, John Henry's fierce determination helped him beat this new machine. However, sadly at the end, John Henry ended up dying. He died because, quote, even the great heart of John Henry could not bear the strain of his last task. Now, this story of a 19th century man versus machine has always haunted me as a kid growing up in the 20th century. Today, in the 21st century, more and more parents are increasingly haunted, or at least concerned, that their kids may be replaced by new machines powered not by steam, but by artificial intelligence. I'm sure you've all heard by now of ChatGPT and all the hype about how this new artificial intelligence or AI tool will soon replace white-collar jobs once reserved for intelligent college graduates. So today, as a homeschooler, I'd like to talk about what every homeschooler and what every parent, teacher, and student should know about ChatGPT. But first, what is ChatGPT? If you haven't tried it yet, ChatGPT is an advanced chatbot powered by machine learning. With ChatGPT, you can type in a question or a prompt, and it gives you a very human-like and in most cases, accurate response that you would think that only a human being could write. For example, let's ask ChatGPT this question. Why is the sky blue? ChatGPT gave me this response. Quote, the sky appears blue because of a phenomenon called Rayleigh scattering, which occurs when sunlight enters the Earth's atmosphere and is scattered by gas molecules and tiny particles in the air. And it goes on with more details. But as you can see, the answer it gives seems very plausible and is written in a style that you would think a well-educated high school or college student would write it. Now, technology like this will only get better and better, but students have already figured out that they can use ChatGPT to write essays and do their homework assignments. It can also probably replace human teachers as well as many white-collar jobs once reserved for college grads. Like the steam engine in the 1800s, ChatGPT and AI is expected to replace talented humans in many jobs in the years ahead. But are these fears justified, or are they unfounded? To answer that, we must first at least try to understand how ChatGPT works in the first place. And what better tool to ask than ChatGPT itself? So I asked ChatGPT this question, quote, how does ChatGPT work? It starts by saying, quote, ChatGPT is a large language model based on the generative pre-trained transformer architecture developed by OpenAI. It works by analyzing and processing large amounts of natural language text data to learn patterns and relationships between words, phrases, and sentences. And it goes on with 3 more paragraphs. But unless you have a technical background, you might get overwhelmed by the technical terms ChatGPT uses. I think a more accessible and detailed answer was written by Cal Newport, who's one of my favorite authors, and he's also a computer science professor. Cal Newport recently wrote this article in the New Yorker. What kind of a mind does ChatGPT have? Large language models seem startlingly intelligent, but what's really happening under the hood? I'll put a link to this article in the description below. But the key takeaway I got from reading this article is that ChatGPT, when asked a question, doesn't really think about holistic ideas before giving a thoughtful response. If you actually try ChatGPT, you'll notice that it doesn't instantly return a web page full of text like a search engine does. Instead, it takes the text that you've already written and then types out its response one word at a time. What it's actually doing is that based on the words that have already been typed out, it predicts what the next word and the word after that should be. So how does it predict the next words? It does this by using rules and finding patterns in lots of other documents and data that it was already trained on. In the case of ChatGPT, it was trained using the entire contents of the internet. Now, there's of course a lot more going on under the hood than that. But the key thing to remember is that ChatGPT, like other AI tools powered by machine learning, are only as good as the data it was trained on. Hence, it cannot solve new problems that no human can provide data on, such as, how do I cure cancer? As Cal Newport put it, a system like ChatGPT doesn't create, it imitates. So what does this mean for homeschoolers and learners of all ages? Actually, despite all the doom and gloom, think that ChatGPT can be a great and fun way to learn. Back when I was a kid, if I wanted quick access to learn about a random topic, I had to use a massive set of books called an encyclopedia set. I envy today's students who can learn just about anything and get a good summary of complex topics with tools such as ChatGPT. However, there are things about ChatGPT that we should be cautious about when it comes to learning. First, ChatGPT can sometimes be factually incorrect. They actually warn us about this on their webpage, where they write, "While we have safeguards in place, the system may occasionally generate incorrect or misleading information and produce offensive or biased content. It is not intended to give advice." Remember, ChatGPT works by finding patterns on data it has been trained with. So it's only as good as the data it was trained on, and in this case, the entire internet. And if you don't trust everything you read on the internet, neither should you trust everything ChatGPT tells you. A more subtle thing to be cautious about is bias. Yes, like humans, AI can be biased too, but not because they believe in some sort of ideology or religion. Again, machine learning is only as good as the data you train these machines on. They are also only as good as the algorithms you use and how you configure their parameters. You can influence machines to give biased answers on certain topics simply by adjusting their parameters. For example, when you try ChatGPT, I suggest you ask it questions on some controversial or polarizing topics like Donald Trump or COVID vaccine. Depending on your own personal bias and experience, you may or may not agree with the answers it gives. One more thing to be cautious about is, I think ChatGPT can make us all intellectually lazy if we're not careful. Because rather than reading books, it's tempting to just turn to ChatGPT to summarize complex issues for us. We may not feel the need then to challenge and stretch our minds by studying difficult subjects in depth. You may have heard that students can now cheat by having ChatGPT write their essays for them, and parents and teachers should be aware of this. But rather than just telling them, don't use ChatGPT, parents and teachers should also emphasize to their students that the process of writing an essay on your own will help you learn a subject better and develop your writing skills. Anyone can learn how to use ChatGPT, but if your kids want to have an edge in the digital age, they must be able to understand and communicate their thoughts on more complex subjects. By the way, if you're looking for an online platform for learning, check out study.com. Study.com has over 8,300 engaging lessons, including lessons on AI and machine learning. I use it with my son, and we find it a great way to support his homeschooling as well as my own supplemental learning. Use the coupon code HomeschoolNolan and get 30% off the first 3 months. Check out study.com today. If John Henry were alive today, I doubt he'd be working on the railroad. He may still be using his muscles, but he'd most likely be also working with a computer, some sort of computer in his hand as well. Rather than try to beat machines in head-to-head competition, we humans today should try to understand what machines can and cannot do so they can serve us rather than the other way around. And I hope this video has helped you get a better understanding of how ChatGPT can be a part of your homeschooling as well as your own lifelong journey of learning. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to click subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.